Now, the cosine rule for unknown sides is applied to non-right angled triangles where two sides and the included angle are known. Okay, and this is in contrast to the sine rule. The sine rule is applied when there are known side angle pairs. Okay, so I'll just draw your attention to the diagram here. So with the sine rule, so just sort of to compare against, a sine rule, the sine rule can only be applied when there are known side angle pairs. So for example, angle A and side A are known. Then you can use that side angle pair to then sort of calculate an unknown side or an unknown angle in another pair. When that is not possible, okay, because you have, for example, two known sides and an angle in between, you don't have known side angle pairs. Okay, so this is where the cosine rule is applied. Okay, so you have two known sides, you have an included angle. Included means in between or between. Okay, you could say that means in between. So in between the two known sides is the included angle. And the formula goes something like this. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of A. Okay, now, if you look at the first part of the formula, okay, what does that look like? Okay, A squared equals b squared plus c squared. In fact, it's an extended version of Pythagoras' theorem, which is really nice. But it's a version of Pythagoras' theorem that is applied to triangles that don't have a right angle. Okay, so pretty much the non-right angled triangles. This is an extended version of Pythagoras' theorem. Okay, and that works really nice. Just like Pythagoras' theorem though, okay, so we can treat A like a hypotenuse or an unknown side, but because we're adding the square of the two known sides, if you want the value of the hypotenuse with Pythagoras' theorem, you need to take the square root of your answer then to get the final answer. And the same thing holds true with the cosine rule as well. So if a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus all that stuff, if you just want A on its own, so that's side A here, which is opposite angle A, you need to take the square root of the whole lot. Let's have a look at an example. In fact, there's two examples we're going to have a look at. Okay, one of them is just the basic, just how to use the cosine rule. And the second example involves the use of bearings. In fact, it's a bearing question, and we're going to apply the cosine rule to solve that problem. All right, so first one. Find the value of x correct to 2 decimal places. Okay, notice first of all, it's a non-right angle triangle. There are no known side angle pairs. So 130 degrees, it's opposing side x. X is unknown. So that's not a known side angle pair. This side here, 4.1, known side, but the angle opposite it is unknown. This side here, 5.2, its opposite angle is unknown. So we can't use the sine rule in this case. So sine rule, gone, can't use it. Cosine rule, however, relies on two sides, two known sides, and a known included angle. So the angle in between those two sides has to be known. And it is in this case. So we can apply the cosine rule here for unknown sides. Okay, so x squared is equal to 4.1 squared plus 5.2 squared minus 2 times 4.1 times 5.2 times the cos of 130 degrees. Okay, now that'll give you the square of x. Remember that we have to take the square root in the end to get our final result or our final answer. Okay, so I'll just increase the brightness a little bit there. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. So 4.1 squared plus 5.2 squared minus 2 times 4.1 times 5.2 times cos of 130 degrees. Okay, and we get 71.2584. Okay, so x squared is equal to 71.2584. I'm going to write the whole decimal because I don't want to round it until the absolute very end, which is good practice. Or you can leave it in exact form. Okay, exact form is actually better still, but if you just write the full decimal, we have to round it to 2 decimal places anyway. So anyways, let's take the square root of that and then we'll round it in the end. Okay, so the quick way to do that on the calculator, okay, in fact, let me just write the working out first. 71.25846368. Just press the square root button, press the answer key, so that's sort of a quicker way of writing that whole answer, just uses your previous answer. and that's 8.44. Okay, so x is equal to 8.44 units. Okay, and that's it. That's a very basic cosine rule application. Once you've got that side there, you could, if you want to, you could use the sine rule then, because you've got a known side angle pair, to then find the other two angles if you like. There's multiple applications. Let's have a look at another example. Okay, and this is the example on bearings. Okay, and let's see if we could make sense of this. Okay, it's another one of those worded sort of bearing problems, and I guess this is where some of the complication occurs, or I guess where the difficulties, or the perceived difficulties anyway. It's not actually a hard question, but it looks hard. It's very wordy. It appears like there's a lot going on here, but in fact, when we break it down, it's not really as complicated as all that. Okay, so let's read the question first and try and make sense of it. We'll extract the information that we need, the mathematical information that we need. We'll draw our diagram, and we'll go from there. So a hot air balloon takes off from town A and floats on a bearing of 210 degrees for 70 kilometers. Okay, so what I might do is I might underline 210 and 70 kilometers. The wind suddenly changed direction and the balloon floated on a bearing of 130 degrees for 40 kilometers. So there's something else we need as well. Okay, two very important pieces of information. Okay, how far away is the balloon from town A? Correct to the nearest 100 meters. Okay, so we can see hopefully you can see what's going on here. 210 degrees, that's a direction southwest, isn't it? So it's kind of I might just quickly sketch it here. It's a bearing direction that looks something like that, isn't it? 180 degrees is south. We're measuring, all bearings are measured, or true bearings are measured from true north, or from north all the way around. So the balloon's sort of doing this, isn't it? And then it's changing direction. The wind changed and it goes on a bearing of 130 degrees. If south's 180, east is 90, so it's going to go into a southeasterly direction like that. Okay, so now that we have an idea of what's going on, so the balloon is sort of it's floating in a sort of a southerly direction. Let's hope the wind changes to something north so it can go back to town A again and hopefully land where it started. But sometimes balloons will land at another point. It'll sort of be set down, and that's sometimes the way it goes. All right, so let's start. We'll draw a compass rose first. Okay, so I'll try and draw this as neatly as possible. Okay. All right, and there's north. Okay, and we know that the balloon has floated for 70 kilometers on a bearing of 210. Okay. Something like that. Okay, in that direction there. So it's starting from town A. All right, and we know that its bearing is 210. So I might just note that here as well. Okay. The balloon then changes direction. Is north, and floats on a bearing of 130 degrees for 40 kilometers. So that's just it's south of east, isn't it? It's more like a southeasterly direction. Okay, and doesn't have to be to scale. Okay, something like that. Yep. Okay, and I might just put the distance here as well. So 70 kilometers initially. Okay, then after it changes direction. It goes it travels for 40 kilometers, and the bearing is on 130 degrees. Something like that. Okay. So we need we're trying to find the distance of the balloon from town A. So we need this distance here, don't we? So I might just. So we need that distance there. Okay, let's call that x. Now, with the cosine rule, we're going to use the cosine rule here. And why are we going to use the cosine rule also? Just as importantly, we have two known sides. So we have 70 kilometers, 40 kilometers. If we can get an included angle, so I'm just going to draw it here in green. So this angle here in green, if I can get that angle there, then we can use the cosine rule. Okay. If we have some other angle, maybe we can use the sine rule, perhaps. but I think it's easier here given the information that we can find the included angle. Okay, so we know that's 130 degrees from north to the 40 degree line here. Sorry, the 40 kilometer line, this last leg of the journey of the balloon. So maybe if I can find this angle here, all right, where I've just put the dot, just find this angle, subtract that from 130, and then I can get the angle inside the triangle. So I'm going to employ a little tactic here, something a little bit different. I could use parallel line geometry, maybe. Or I could use a right angle triangle. In fact, either one's fine. So if we use a right angle triangle, in fact, I'm going to show you this only because it's something different, okay? We use parallel lines generally with bearing questions. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to show you something else. Another property of the east, west, north, south axes. Okay, if you extend the east-west axis of one compass rose and extend the north-south axis of another compass rose, where they intersect, it'll be a 90-degree angle. Okay, because that's it by definition. North is 90 degrees to either east or west. Okay, that's the vertical axis. East-west is the horizontal axis. So we have a 90-degree angle there. We've got a right angle triangle. Now, this is 210 degrees. Okay, here. Okay, west is 270. That's 210. So this must be 60 degrees here. Okay, if that's 60 degrees, this one here must be 30 degrees. So what must this angle here be? Okay, between, let's call this point B, and let's call this point C. Okay, so what must the angle be between AB and BC? Okay, it's 130 degrees from north all the way to BC, but from north to AB it's 30. Okay, so angle ABC is equal to 100 degrees. Now, just to get to this point here, generally in an assessment or any kind of formal examination, generally speaking, and I'm not saying this is the absolute rule, but generally this would be a separate question or a separate part of the problem. You'd be asked to find this angle here first, but I'm just doing it all at once. Okay, again, I don't have much space to work with, so just bear with me. Okay, the first thing is that we try and find this angle here, and we found that this angle here is in fact 100 degrees. We now have 70 kilometers here. We have another known side of 40 kilometers there. We can now apply the cosine rule, okay, because we have two known sides and a known included angle. Okay, so x squared is equal to 70 squared plus 40 squared. So there are two known sides, okay, minus 2 times 70 times 40 times the cosine of 100. Okay. Once we've got that, okay, so let's type that in. 70 squared plus 40 squared minus 2 times 70 times 40 times cos of 100. Okay, we get 7472.429795. We know that's incorrect because, well, I'm not saying it's incorrect, there's one more step. Okay, so x squared is equal to 7472.429795. Again, I'm not rounding until the very end. So now we need to take the square root of that answer. So square root answer, 86.4432 kilometers. Okay. Okay, which equals 86.4432 kilometers. Okay, but we'll want to round to the nearest 100 meters. So that's the tens of kilometers. That's the kilometers, the units. So tens units, that's the tenths of a kilometer. 100 meters, okay, this is 1/10 of a kilometer, which means 1 decimal place. Okay, so we're going to round this to 1 decimal place. That's the nearest 100 meters. So this is the 100 meter place there. So it's going to be 86.4 kilometers away from town A, from base camp. Okay, and there's another application of cosine rule. Thanks for watching, everyone.